Greetings from the University of Thessaly, where we inaugurated today a Child Rights Center. This is the 6th center for child rights in Greece, and we are looking forward to a very successful partnership. Today our subject is violence against children. Why violence against children happens, and why do people allow violence to happen against children, but also why children among themselves also they practice violence. This is also very important. Sometimes we forget that element. We should know that violence starts in the minds of people. Violence starts when people and children fail to communicate effectively, when they don't know how to resolve an issue in a constructive way and within a constructive dialogue, when they don't accept the differences, when they don't respect the views of others, when they don't accept others as they are. This is where violence starts. And that's why, in order to eliminate violence, we have to work on the mindset of children, of young people, and of the society in general. Article 19 of the Convention on the Rights of the Child covers violence against children. And it's very clear that no violence should occur, whether this violence is physical or verbal or psychological. Any kind of violence is not allowed. Violence means violation of children's rights. Violation of children's rights means stealing the happiness of childhood. But in addition to all the negative effects of violence, it constitutes a violation of the dignity of the human being. And the preamble of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights stipulates that dignity is inherent to the human being. So dignity should not be touched. And when we exercise violence against children, we are violating their dignity. We should respect children. We should respect everyone. And once again, we should resolve our conflicts in a constructive way based on acceptance of others, respect for the views of others, and resolving issues in a non-violent way. From the society, we should know also that there should be mechanisms to report violence. And this is what the Convention on the Rights of the Child, adopted in 1989, stipulates. Without mechanisms, how can children report violence against them? Ombudspersons for children, child rights councils, a mechanism at school level to report violence, but also in addition to that, parents and teachers and community members who believe that violence is a gross violation against children's rights. Parents who still believe that violence is needed for the upbringing of their children are very wrong, because violence will not bring anything but negative effects, in addition to the fact that it is a violation of the dignity of children. But it also brings only negative effects, and it teaches children wrong ways of dealing with their problems as well, because they will think that violence is the solution, and they will resort to violence as well when they have issues to resolve. Alternative measures positive measures, positive disciplining measures are very much needed. And for that, the state has an obligation to educate parents on non-violent ways of disciplining their children, on positive alternative measures whenever children do something wrong. This is the method, the pedagogical method, which brings positive results and teaches children how to deal with their own problems. So when they have a conflict with their friend, with their classmate, they don't resort to violence. And this is how the whole society becomes a non-violent society. This is how disputes are solved out without violence, and this is how democracy is practiced in a better way. Because the real meaning of democracy includes the resolution of conflicts in a non-violent way. This is where democracy is practiced in the right way. Coming back to the mechanisms in the society and the mechanisms in the school and in the community, it is very important that children have access to reporting any violence against them. This means a hotline, this means a complaint box at school, this means also teachers and school management who respect children's rights and who are ready all the time to listen to the child and to understand the problem and to find solutions. Having said this, we should not forget, unfortunately, that there are perpetrators in the society. There are people who are violent against children. And this is where the legal frameworks are extremely important to organize the society and to prevent any violence against children. So a solid child rights-based legal framework is extremely important. But this legal framework should not include only slogans and nice sentences. It should include mechanisms to protect children from violence and to prevent violence from happening. In terms of institutional care, and wherever there are children in institutions who need to go back to families, it is extremely important that within this transitional period, which should be the shortest period of time, that all mechanisms in institutions are there in order to protect children from all kinds of violence, including sexual abuse, sexual exploitation, and sexual assaults. All measures should be at the same time age appropriate and gender sensitive, so children are protected from any form of violence. The Convention on the Rights of the Child adopted development, the right to development, in Article 6. And this right to development was considered by the United Nations Committee on the Rights of the Child as one of the 4 general principles of the Convention. No way development of a child will be sound if this child is subject to violence. We should also understand very well that there is no way learning is to the fullest potentials of the child if the child is subject to violence, and even if the child is afraid of being subject to violence at school or in the family. Here we come to a very important topic, which is protection of the child within the family. Because unfortunately, violence does happen in some families. And this is where the state, through competent authorities, has the right and obligation to interfere within the family. This is what the modern concept of child protection has brought up with the Convention on the Rights of the Child and the subsequent international instruments. When the child is subject to violence in the family, competent authorities can intervene. But also we have to keep in mind that removal of the child from the family should be a measure of last resort. Social workers, child judges, and prosecutors and all the competent authorities should try their best to deal with the problem while keeping the child in the family. Rather than isolating the problem by removing the child from the family, the problem has to be fixed within the family. And all the social work support and all other needed types of support have to be provided to the family so separation is prevented and resolution of the problem is done within the family and while keeping the child in the family. Only in the cases where violence constitutes a threat, a real threat on the child, and where parents or any other member of the family, of the immediate family or of the extended family, where there is a threat on the child and where this threat is not, it's not possible to stop it, then removal of the child for the shortest period of time and in the best interest of the child should be applied. In summary, violence steals the happiness from children, and happiness of childhood is the best thing in life. To preserve that happiness and to maintain a sound development of the child, children should be protected from all types of violence, whether physical, psychological, mental, verbal, or any type of violence. Neglect is also violence. Parents should take care of their children. They have duties and responsibilities towards their children. Caregivers, they have also duties and responsibilities towards children. That's why the whole society should make sure that the rights of every child, especially the right to be protected from violence, should be upheld all the time.